Yesterday, when I was on the plane to head out here for this event, I got a text from my husband, and we have 3 teenage boys. His text to me was, I have an idea for a new innovation, and he knows I love technology and ideas for new apps. So I respond back and I say, yes, what's your idea? And he said, I want to create a button on my iPhone that's called the teenage button. So of course, I'm intrigued. What does this teenage button do? And he said, I want a button that will simultaneously, when I push it, will simultaneously turn off the Wi-Fi to all of their devices and the hot water to the shower at the same time so I can get them to school on time. And I thought, that's actually a really good idea. I'd probably pay for that app. So we live in a digital age today, right? We are in the midst of it, midst of major transformation and major change. So about 20 years ago, I started with this company, Cisco Systems, not the food company, but the technology company, and have seen some pretty amazing things happen over the last 20, 25 years. We've all been a part of it. So what are some of those things that have actually come about in the last 20, 30 years, right? We've had the birth of the web. The internet wasn't in existence prior to that. Social media, which we are on all day long and we live on and live by. And then mobile phones, right? Mobile phones, billions of people around the world with mobile phones connected like never before. So in this world that's hyper-connected, that's have all these devices out there, all these new ways of doing business, it's extremely important for all of us to keep our eyes open, keep our minds open to new ways of doing things, thinking about everything we do in life, whether it's as an individual contributor, whether it's with our families, our businesses, healthcare, the environment, the planet. What are ways that we can use technology to make this a better place for all? And it means that we have to do some different things ourselves. We have to keep our eyes open. More importantly, we have to keep our minds open. Keep our minds open to these new ways. Be willing to take some risks. Be willing to try some new things. What I would propose to you is how can we now take technology and how can we take connectivity a step further? How can we take technology and connectivity and really think about how we will relate in new ways to wild animals? And what impact that can have on our planet? So what does that mean to say, how would we connect technologically to wild animals? Let's take a journey over to Africa. You think in Africa, we got the big 5, and many of our animals in Africa are under major threat right now. And some people would say, well, why are you so worried about this? Why do you care so much about these animals and how technology can help save them? Because at the end of the day, these animals, if they go extinct, have dramatic impacts on the entire society, on the economics of the country, and huge impacts on the environment if we lose these animals. So let's look at a couple of statistics because I believe we have a really good opportunity today to use technology to help here. 35,000 elephants were killed in the year 2013 alone for their ivory. That's heartbreaking to hear that. 500,000 rhinos roamed this earth in the 1900s. Early 1900s, we have 29,000 left today. Hugely under attack. And when you look at these numbers, a rhino horn itself, which is why they want it, the rhino horn fetches 2 times the price of gold. So you understand, in very poor countries, this is a huge revenue for them. The poaching increased in these 2007 to 14 by over 9,000%. Rhinos are killed every 6 hours. And if we keep going at this pace, both of these will be extinct in the next 10 to 20 years. So this is why I look at this and say, how can technology help them? And there's some brilliant minds focused on how we can help save these animals today. If you think about this concept of sort of connected conservation and how we use technology, this isn't anything new. We've been using some technology today. We put cameras on rhino horns. We do satellite sensors, on elephants' ears to track them. Rhino horns even sometimes get dyed blue so that they're not usable. They're not worth anything in the market. But all of those technologies are very reactive, right? And they're very invasive. Sometimes you're even airlifting these animals out of their native habitat to somewhere else. Wouldn't it be great if we could allow them to live in their natural habitat without being so intrusive? And that's where Bruce Watson from Data, partnered with Cisco to come up with some ideas on how we can be more proactive in terms of conservation and saving these animals. I'm going to show you a very short video clip.
I believe our job is to create a safe place for the rhino and other animals to roam freely.
That's what legacy is about. That's what heritage is about. 3 years ago, we lost a lot of rhinos, and it was almost crisis management. What do you do? How are we doing? We tried everything. We tried dyeing rhinos' horns. At the end of the day, it's retrospective.
The guys will come in, shoot the rhino, and then leave. So that gives us, on average, half an hour.
If anyone touches the fence, they immediately give eyes to our response teams and our helicopter instantly. And they give eyes to our screens and our control rooms. That's where we want to be. We don't want to spend our time wrestling the rhino and leave him and her alone to go and do what they do, which is to roam freely and not be stressed or darted or tagged or marked.
So the idea here again, on the proactive side, is let's still use our reactive technology where we can, but let's move to actually tracking the people that are doing the harm, and let's extract that from the equation. And so that's what we're doing with this technology, is using these biometric sensors, et cetera, so they can actually tell when there's been a breach and they can get to that individual and extract them before damage can be done to the animals. We really believe that this is an amazing time for us right now to have an impact on our planet by using this technology, getting this technology out into the wild, so that our children, our grandchildren, will still be able to experience these beautiful animals, the big five. So we think about another way that we can interact with the wild. How many of you have ever been on a whale excursion, whale watching, dolphins? Good. Quite a few hands have gone up. For those of you that have, you know the experience. And for those of us that haven't, we can only imagine. We can only imagine you're out on the boat's rocking, you're smelling the sea water, right? You see this beautiful, graceful creature going through the water. In this picture here, you can hear the water trickling off of the whale's tail and dropping in. Or you see a big whale breach and it crashes down, and you feel that, you see that, you hear it. What an amazing experience. But not everybody can experience that. What if we took one of those senses away, one of those elements away? What if we took away the element of sound? What if you had that same experience, but you could not hear it? Well, that's exactly what a whale watching experience would be for someone who's deaf. They could go out and experience everything except that sound. This is what I think it would be like. Now, imagine if we could connect the deaf with the sounds that you and I can hear when we're out there and change the experience, albeit wonderful that you just saw, so that they could actually hear and feel the whales themselves. And that's exactly what was done recently with 24 deaf students. So these 24 deaf students were part of this MuseSeek program Maria put together, utilizing these backpacks called a subpack. And a subpack would be put about a 5-pound backpack that these kids would wear. And what would happen is it's an audio to tactile experience. So they go out, the kids had never been on the boat before, never seen the whales, so that in of itself was an amazing experience. But these deaf children now, with a hydrophone under the boat, the whale sounds, it squeaks, it groans, it whistles, it breaching and slamming down. All of that sound picked up by the hydrophone, audio then transferred over Bluetooth to this subpack, and they get a tactile experience. They feel the vibration of it. They feel the sound. What an amazing experience. And the way they tell the stories of these 24 kids and their families on this boat were sitting there in awe, in silence, smiles, laughing, tears of joy as they got to experience sound for the first time. And when Maria tells the story, what I love, she said, there was this one little boy who was sitting there next to his mom, had the pack on, and he was quiet. He had his eyes closed, and he was experiencing it. And he looked up to her, and he signed to her and said, "Mom, am I dreaming?" That, to me, is what dreams are all about. This is about connected technology, connecting us to the wild, connecting us to people, places, things, so that we can make dreams like that come real. Thank you.